My name is Pedi Karisma, and I'm here to present my paper under the title A Game Theory Approach to Tailor a Competitive Strategy for a Developing Rolling Stock Manufacturer in Southeast Asia. First, let's start with the definition of competitive strategy. Competitive strategy described as taking offensive or defensive actions to create a defendable positions in an industry, to cope successfully with the 5 competitive forces and thereby yield superior return on investment for a firm. Michael Porter has defined that there are only 4 generic strategy, which can be divided into 2. First one is industry-wide, and the second one is a particular segment. So in our industry, it should be on the particular segments side. And based on the uniqueness perceived by the customer and also the low-cost positions, there are only 2 options available for a narrow target market. First of all, is the differentiation focus, and the second one is the cost focus. You have to seem different. You have to be seen differently by the customer, or you have to have a low-cost strategy. Okay, and in order to do that, we have to incorporate the 5 forces, and these all 5 competitive forces determine the intensity of industry competitions and profitability, and the strongest force or forces are governing and become crucial from the point of view of strategy formulation. So we have to pick among these 5. For a rolling stock industry, the suppliers is kind of fixed, and the customer is also fixed. Not so many people order rolling stocks, and the entry barrier for a new entrant is quite high. This is because in order to build a factory like a rolling stock manufacturer requires a lot of investment, and also the substitutes it's rarely happens in the railway industry. I mean, people still using rolling stock for like 30 years, and therefore the competitors, therefore the competitions or the rivalry among existing firms is the highest or the strongest forces in all 5 competitive forces. Okay, so in order to see the rivalry, we need to see how is the markets going on. And hereby, we would like to use the game theory studies, which studies interactive decision-making where the outcome for each participants or players depends on the action of all. Since we are using a B-matrix game theory, which only consists of 2 players, which is player A or player B, which execute 2 different kind of strategy, and therefore they have a payoff for each player A or player B. From this graphic, we can see that when player A executes strategy number 1, they will get a payoff. They get a payoff. And when the player B execute the strategy number 1 and player A executes strategy 1, they get a payoff. So it has to have some kind of pairs between the strategy executed and the payoff they gain from executing strategy. And by doing this, we hope that we can solve several problems. First is to analyze the competition condition among rivals using the HSI calculations. And the second was is to understand how much payoff gained by its players utilizing the strategy using a game theory approach. And the third one is to recognize a competitive strategy for a developing rolling stock manufacturer in Southeast Asia by only focusing on the strongest forces on all of 5 important forces, which is the rivalry among existing firms. Okay, so what we are going to do is first to collect the data from the market, and then we select the market segmentations. And in here, we focus on the diesel multiple unit product in a price sensitive market in Africa, Asia, and also Australia and Pacific. And we have done the selections on focus selection or focus among quarter 5 forces, which is on the rivalry. And by doing that, we would like to calculate the CK and SHE index to know the market condition or the rivalry condition among the existing firms. And by doing that, we hoping that we can apply the game theory approach to recognize which strategy works best. So after the data that we have collected from here, we can see that the CI calculations and the HSI calculations dictates that most of the time, the market rivalry falls into the dominant firm category and sometimes in monopoly category, since it is close to oligopoly condition, or since it is close or nearby the oligopoly conditions. The B-matrix game theory can be applied. Okay, so from the trends, we can see that the Indonesia railway strategies change the DMU price over time and also the delivery time. And this is also happens to the Indonesian railway industry competitors. And by doing that, by seeing the trends, we can see that in time to time, Indonesian railway industry and the competitors selecting different kind of approach or strategy. In 2016 and 2017, Indonesian railway industry tried to decrease their price and increase delivery time, and therefore they got minus 6.62% in market share, while the competitors executed decreased price and increased delivery time strategy. Since this is a zero-sum game, the number of payoff will be 0. The sum of the payoff of both players will be 0. So we can see here, when the competitors increase their price and decrease delivery time, it is work best if the Indonesian railway industry increase price and increase delivery time. And the second, but the biggest payoff came when the competitors decrease price but increasing the delivery time, while Indonesian railway industry decreased both of the price and also delivery time. The payoff was plus 46%. So we can have the conclusion first. The biggest competitor in the DMU market for Indonesian railway industry at its serviceable area market is Hyundai Rotem from the CK and SI calculations. And the second one, the rivalry among players in the market is often falls within the dominant firm and monopoly market structure. And the third one is to win the market share, lowering the price and providing fast delivery time is obviously the best strategy. But another interesting fact that we have is the second recommended strategy is to focus on the quality. Even though we are increasing the price and to postpone delivery time to a longer period, we still got payoff around 28%. And the fifth calculation that we got is Indonesian railway industry still has room to execute quality focus, and the market response is still positive. That's all from me. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let us know. Stop sharing.